the depth of field, with the landscape and so on, you're noticing the aperture hole is getting smaller, and therefore the shutter has to stay open longer and longer, so we still end up with that same correct exposure. That's something to be aware of. Really large F numbers, really small holes, they often end up requiring quite a long, slow photo, so you've got to hold the camera really steady, or put it on a tripod or something. That's why landscape photographers and things always bother to bring a tripod, where someone else can just walk past with a happy snap and go, didn't need a tripod. But no, they're using such a big F number for such an amazing depth of field that the photos can be quite slow. Going the other way then, going smaller and smaller F numbers, getting smaller depth of field, good for portraits, nice blurry backgrounds, and conveniently also nice fast photos at the same time. Just a point to note, don't expect to see the depth of field change when you're looking through your viewfinder. It's not actually till you get the photo back that you'll see the depth of field. Because when you're looking through the viewfinder in a DSLR, in fact the lens stays open to the largest hole it can, so you can see. Wouldn't be much good if you'd asked for f22, which is a really small hole, and the lens just shut down. You wouldn't be able to see through the camera anymore. So in fact it stays open no matter what F number you ask for, until you actually take the shot, and then it briefly slumps down to a different size, takes the photo back up again so you can see. It just means you can't see the depth of field changes in real time. The other thing to remember is you're not entirely safe anymore in aperture mode. It won't stop you selecting an F number even if there actually is no shutter speed to match up to it for that current lighting condition. Maybe it needs more than 30 seconds, or maybe it needs faster than the 4,000th of a second limit that the camera can do. So you can pick whatever F number you want, as long as the lens can do it, but there just might not be a fast enough or a slow enough shutter speed to match up to it. So you've got to be aware of that. The camera will warn you. It'll sit there flashing the F number at you, or it might go red, or Nikons normally say high or low. There'll be some warning there letting you know that the F number you picked is basically out of range for the current lighting conditions. It'll sometimes happen in a situation like this. Let's say you're trying to take a photo in the dark, and you make it worse by using a large F number. Now when I say you're making it worse, that's because the large F number is a small hole, so there's already almost no light out there, and you're forcing it to come in through a pinhole. It's going to take forever to get enough light in there for the photo, well and truly more than the 30-second limit that the camera can do itself. But it won't stop you taking the picture. It'll just flash 30 seconds at you, basically saying, don't do it, if you take this photo, it's your own silly fault. It'll just stay open for as long as it can, which is only 30 seconds, and then it'll give you a photo back that just looks dark. It couldn't stay open long enough to give you the correct brightness. The same thing can also happen at the other end if you use too small an F number, so too big a hole, and you're pointing straight at the sun or some really bright light source. Then so much light comes gushing in there, the camera only needs to be open for a millionth of a second to get the correct exposure. But, the quickest photo it can do is maybe 4,000th of a second, and still too much light's going to get in, and you'll end up with an overexposed photo. So that's a bit of a telltale. If you're looking at a photo and you just seem to be getting inexplicable exposure, I asked for it to be brighter and it's not getting brighter, or something like that, it's probably just telling you that there was something warning, something flashing at you, you just missed it. So just don't use such a large or such a small F number until it kind of calms down and doesn't have any flashing warnings at you. Another thing you can do to combat that is change your ISO. We'll leave that to the ISO lecture. An interesting side effect you can get with using a large F number, apart from having a large depth of field, it actually tends to make any point light source turn into a bit of a star, burst. It can look really cool. Some people hate it, but I think if it's used properly, it can be quite nice. So to get that effect, you have the sun actually hiding behind the leaf or the building